Welcome, everyone, to SI Media with Jimmy Traina. Thank you so much for listening. We have an All-Traina Thoughts edition of the podcast today with my buddy Sal Licata. Before we get to it, just quickly, we dropped 2 podcasts last week. In case you missed them, we had John Oran from Puck on to talk about everything going on with the NBA's television deals, with the NBA refusing the match of Warner Brothers Discovery / TNT of the Amazon offer and the potential court case. So that was last week with John Oran. We also had a bonus pod with the WWE CM Punk. Greg Olson was on the show 2 weeks ago. Noah Eagle 3 weeks ago. So if you missed any of those, go into the archives, check them out, and give them a listen. And make sure you subscribe to SI Media with Jimmy Traina. All right, let's get into this episode right now with my buddy Sal Licata from WFAN Radio in New York, SNY TV in New York. And he's on vacation doing this podcast.
Oh, shoot. Sorry about that. I set my alarm to go off with the podcast because I am on vacation. I didn't want to forget. So there we go.
There you go. How's the vacation?
Not bad. The weather now, like last night and today, a little shaky. But other than that, it's been pretty good.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. I'm glad we're doing an All-Traina Thoughts because I have like a lot of podcast housekeeping to take care of. Like,
okay.
Every week I like to complain about booking this podcast. Literally, so here's the problem, and I should know this because this happens every year. Like, this is a tough week. Everyone's on vacation. Reached out to a bunch of sports media people, a lot of people on vacation. But I have the next 2 weeks booked. So it works out well. Yeah, so Dog's going to be on next week for those. And then we have a big college football person coming on in 2 weeks. So that's
when you
all
say
well
big.
Well, like top 3 college football people.
College game day. I'm not a big college football fan. Let me just guess top 3. Like Corso, Herb Street, Fowler.
Well, I don't want to say who it is.
Oh, okay. But am I good with guessing? Okay, I'll get it off the air.
Top 3 college football personality.
By the way, you should have gotten Colin Russo on this week.
We'll get into that. We will get into all that. Like I said, there's a lot of housekeeping to take care of. Well, yeah, there is actually a lot going on with Dog. So did we talk about last week the Dog thing with Mike Tirico and NBC?
I think we might have a little bit, yeah, where he got... you and I talked about it. I don't know if we did it on the air. We definitely talked about it.
Right. I think we talked about it off the air. But I felt bad because apparently, I guess, the NBC team was not overjoyed that, like, Dog said what he said, and then I put it on Twitter and was like, NBC and Mike Tirico ghosted. I should have left Tirico... I sent Tirico a message to apologize, but he's busy with the Olympics. So, like, hopefully someone hears this and tells him, because all I hear about is like, oh, someone heard you on the podcast say this, and I'm like, I don't understand how that's true. But
why do you need to apologize to Tirico?
Because he's like, it wasn't Tirico, because in my tweet I said that NBC and Tirico ghosted Dog. But Tirico has nothing to do with it. That's all the PR. And the PR department is claiming it was just miscommunication. But my whole thing for posting it wasn't to make NBC or Tirico look bad. The reason I posted the clip of Dog, for those who don't know, let me just give you the quick backstory. According to Mad Dog, Mike Tirico was supposed to go on before, like, the day of the Olympics or the day before. Then Dog goes on First Take, bashes NBC for selling $20 tickets to IMAX theaters to watch the opening ceremonies. And then suddenly Tirico's not a guest on the show, and Dog was saying he thought it was because of the First Take thing. I posted the clip because, 1, I post anything that funny that Russo does.
Right.
And then 2, as someone who books the podcast and writes a column, I've experienced this where, like, I'll write a column maybe saying something negative about someone, and then, like, I need to try to get them on the podcast, and it's not fun. So it was more of like an inside sports media thing. I didn't think word would get back to NBC that I posted this and people were upset. So it was all meant in light jest. And Tirico did go on with Dog on Tuesday. So
okay. So it's over then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I felt bad if anyone, got any bent out of shape. So that's
people are so sensitive. I mean, my God, Dog was joking around anyway or saying what he's saying. Right. The NBC's going to be whatever.
Well, I don't blame Tirico because if Dog was bashing the Olympics or NBC, Tirico would still go on. He's a good guy. Right. He knows the business and all that. But when PR people become involved, then, you don't know what happens. So I should have just left Tarico out of it completely, but whatever. Mike's great. And like I said, he went on with Dog Tuesday. So no harm, no foul. So that was the first bit of housekeeping. The second bit of housekeeping, if you are someone who's not really like a huge fan of me and the way I do these interviews and the podcast, even though I don't know why you'd be listening, and you want to enjoy myself getting just trash to no end, go on YouTube and read the comments for my CM Punk interview last week. I am getting destroyed by the people who watched the YouTube video, saying I'm a terrible interviewer. And, now let me give you, again.
Is this wrestling fans specifically getting on you?
Yes. Okay. So let me give you the backstory here.
Yeah.
I will agree 100%. The first 10 to 15 minutes of that interview, I was terrible and way off my game.
Why?
Had to deal with a lot of personal issues that morning.
Okay.
I mean, so my mother calls me that morning, hysterically crying. She goes down in her basement. It's flooded beyond belief. Pipe in the toilet burst. She wanted me to go over there to help with some things. And now on a day I got to tape the podcast, I can't be doing that stuff.
Right.
Like, I understand I'm not exactly like curing cancer here, but like,
yeah,
there's a focus level that needs to happen. So I don't like to do anything on the days I tape the podcast. So I had to run over there. It was a disaster. It's a long story. But the basement just completely flooded. So I was not myself for that interview. At that day, I was off my game. Then that day, there was a picture that came out of Tony Khan, who owns and runs AEW, with Shane McMahon.
Right.
Which, I mean, listen, the bottom line is, if Shane McMahon joined AEW, that's a batshit insane crazy story.
Right.
And normally I would, try to soften the guest up, the trick, and then you hit him with that at some point later. I started the interview with that question. And
you led with that?
Yeah. Because here's what my thinking was. This is my thinking was. My thinking was, I know he doesn't want to deal with this or comment on this.
All right.
So let me get it out of the way, because if I don't ask, then people are going to say, like, there's already people already think I'm in cahoots with the WWE and like I'm helping with like storylines or whatever, some nonsense. Wrestling fans are crazy. So I'm like, let me get it out of the way, address it and move, and I asked him, what do you think about the picture? And he said, pass. So
I saw that clip you posted, so I'm familiar
which I am not, like, I expected that. All that's fine. This is 100% on me. So I was off my game, and I do think after 10 or 15 minutes, then I think we had an excellent interview.
Okay.
But these people on YouTube, the comments are just destroying me. I'm terrible. I have low energy, boring, terrible questions, But I did hear through the grapevine that CM Punk, well, forget what I heard, because I don't even know if I should say it. He reposted the podcast on his Instagram. So
that says enough. He was okay with it.
Yeah. All right. So that's out of the way.
Now, can I just follow up one quick one?
Please, whatever you want to say.
Why wouldn't he, like, what's, I know the significance of Tony Khan and Shane McMahon. CM Punk is back with WWF or WWE?
Yeah.
Okay, so he couldn't even like share. Did he give anything? Did he share a thought, an opinion, a possibility?
Well, there's a lot of animosity with him in AEW. There's a lot of it ended badly.
Didn't it end badly with him with WWE?
Yes, but this was even worse.
Right, so, I remember the backstage stuff and the fighting. I see what you're saying. But
that's why his opinion on it would be newsworthy. So I had to ask.
Because he knows that company well. Okay.
Yeah.
What's his deal? Why does it end? Like, he's good with you, obviously, but why the rough endings for both places?
I don't know. I don't know. Listen, he's a controversial figure. I don't think he means to be, but he just is.
Okay.
I think he wants things a certain way. I don't think he enjoys a lot of bullshit. So,
Okay.
One last thing on wrestling. My guy Roman Reigns came back at SummerSlam. Very exciting.
Where has he been?
He hasn't been around since WrestleMania. when he lost to Cody Rhodes. So now he's back. Now he's a good guy. He did the face. Now he's a face.
Well, how's he a good guy now?
Because when he was gone,
is the bloodline over?
Well, the bloodline sort of decided they would take over without him, and they put Paul Heyman through a table, not the announcing table. So now Roman is back, and
who's he fighting with?
Well, he's going to go against him, and the bloodline will have a feud.
And then last one, Cena. He's starting his retirement tour.
I don't know when that starts.
Okay, so it didn't start at SummerSlam.
I think in 2025 it's supposed to. Yeah.
Okay.
So Roman's back. Got to get Roman on the podcast. All right. Was there anything else regarding the podcast? I think that was it with the podcast. I'll tell you though, I hate, like I said, I know everyone loves the summer. It never happens for me. Like, I enjoy the pool and the beach. Oh, there's my alarm. But this bullshit with everyone being off. I mean, Howard Stern is off the whole summer.
Yeah.
You're off this week.
I got another week coming in 2 weeks.
Dog was off last week. Boomer and Gio, who I listen to, are off. I don't like what I listen to and consume. I'm all off. I'm all off. I don't
You're getting close to the everyday grind, though. Coming up in a couple of weeks. That's it. Once we get back, everybody's back, and that's it.
Speaking of which, a couple of things on football.
Mm-hmm.
DraftKings a disgrace. They don't have over-unders up yet. Can you put them up, please?
Interesting that they wouldn't be up. Why wouldn't they have any up right now?
They have the Super Bowl odds. They have, who's going to win the division, who's going to win the conference, this, that. But they didn't have season totals up, which I need those up. Now, I'm going to assume you did not watch any of the Hall of Fame game on Thursday.
None of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I did know what happened, though. So how do the bets work when the game ends like that?
Well, I bet over in a parlay, and they paid me out.
So that was already decided. The over/under was decided at that point.
Yeah. The game went over in the first half, basically.
What about if you had a win bet or whatever?
Those were null and void.
Okay.
So, are you familiar at all with the new kickoff rule?
Yes.
Do you understand it? Do you understand it?
Yes, where they have everybody lined up, I do understand it. But there's still can be.
You understand it?
Well, I mean, I believe so. Where they have they're lined up a lot closer, obviously. Okay, I don't know the exact yard lines, but yes, the kicker's same spot basically. But what the hell do you call them? Defenders, the special teams unit, whatever, is up in front of them, closer to the returns team.
So Joe Buck, which I still can't believe Buck and Aikman called that game, but Joe Buck tried to explain the new kickoff rule before the game, and I just know already. The season's going to end in February, and I'm still going to have no idea what this rule. I have no idea what this rule is. I'm going to play the clip. Shelby's going to roll the clip of Joe Buck explaining the new kickoff rule, and you tell me if you fully understand what's going on. Shelby, hit it.
There's also a lot of excitement with a change in the kickoff rule, which is entirely different than any of us have seen in the NFL. Teams kick off from the 35. The 10 players in the kicking team start at the opponent's 40. At least 9 receiving team players must be in the setup zone between their own 30 and 35. Play begins when the ball's touched or hits the ground in the end zone or landing zone, the area between the receiving team's goal line and the 20. Touchbacks that land in the end zone are brought out to the 30. Touchbacks that roll into the end zone from the landing zone are brought out to the 20. You got all that? We're going to hang on for dear life tonight, but man, is it going to be fun to watch this unfold?
It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun.
So one question I have. I thought I had a decent understanding of it.
Yeah.
Well, how do you have a touchback in not the end zone? What's it called? The green zone? What they call it?
Landing zone.
The landing zone, yeah. So how does a touchback happen in the landing zone?
If it rolls into the end zone.
So if the kicker misses it and it rolls into the end zone, yeah, that part of it's confusing. I didn't understand all that.
But what exactly is the point of all this?
Well, player safety. So,
okay, but it's not to add excitement to have kickoffs because no one ever returns kickoffs anymore. It's always a touchback.
Correct. This should change that to a certain extent, I would think.
Why?
That's a good question because if the team is kicking off in the same spot, you'd think there'd be a similar number of touchbacks. And like I said, I don't understand what the new rule with this thing is, but once the player gets the ball as opposed to taking a knee. I think it might be more enticing to take it out because there's going to be more space, I would assume. Again, I don't know. I'm not a rules expert. I'm not a special teams coach. I would assume that there would be more space because the blocking should be better with the shorter distance to run, as opposed to guys just darting off down the field. Which should in theory create more space. I honestly have no idea.
If the kicker is still kicking off from the same yard line, the ball's going to go in the end zone anyway. So I don't understand the big.
But I would assume that with this would make it maybe more enticing to take out. I have no idea. But you know about the onside kick stuff, right?
You're not allowed to do it until the fourth quarter, and you have to tell the other team, right, or something like that.
Yeah. So that to me was more like, hey, look. Basically, the kickoff was going to be obsolete. So it's either this or nothing, and eventually it's probably going to be nothing anyway, right?
I think so.
Do you even? Do you care as a diehard football fan about the kickoff? I'm like, even the onside kick, like
how about
the odds of getting that.
I don't like. How about don't change anything? Just leave it the way it was. It was the same way for 5,000 years. Just leave it.
Yeah, but they're doing it because of player safety first and foremost.
I still hated that they changed the extra point.
Yeah,
I don't like these games. Yeah, I don't like these games. I don't like when a missed extra point is wreaking havoc on a game.
And it does that a lot now.
And especially on the wagers.
Well, that's what I meant. I don't mean the actual game. I'm talking about from a bettor's perspective, although it could impact the game. But those extra points, they always, like, you're rooting for a team to cover. You get the touchdown, you're feeling good. Then the numbskull misses the extra point. You feel like, oh God! Like,
and these coaches don't. Yeah, the coaches don't understand anything about when to go for two, when to not go for two.
Yeah, I know.
The game gets destroyed. The game becomes a complete mess because of a missed extra point. That's not really what football's supposed to be.
Well, how about the roughing the passer penalties that ruin games and ruin bets left and right?
Totally ridiculous.
Yeah,
totally ridiculous.
Football's coming.
Still can't wait for football.
Speaking your Sunday ticket yet?
we're taping this on Wednesday. The Hard Knocks debuted on Tuesday with the Bears. Did you? I didn't watch it. Did you? I'm going to, but I didn't. No. Yeah, I know. I didn't get to it.
I watched the Giants. I think that's enough of a fill. The Giants Hard Knocks, which I liked. I don't think I could get into the Bears. Maybe I'll try it. I don't know. It depends. I think my wife's sleeping and I'm home with nothing else on. Then maybe then.
I need to watch it to see if I can get some insight as to why Caleb Williams blocked me on Twitter when I never tweeted about him. Still trying to figure that one out.
Interesting.
I mean, no answers.
Did you ever say anything bad about him?
The only thing that I went through it. I had one tweet in my life that mentioned Caleb Williams, and it was a clip making fun of Dog because he kept calling him Caleb Williams. And I said something like, here's another botched Chris Russo name, Caleb Williams. I think in fact what it was I think Dog botched two names. He botched a receiver on the Bears, and he's something like, when the Bears have Caleb Williams throwing to, and he botched another name. And I posted.
You never said anything bad about USC because of a missed extra point or some kind of bet.
I mean, do you think USC is in my tweeting wheelhouse?
Well, if they blew a bet for you, potentially, yeah. A little.
Agreed. I checked. I didn't. Yeah.
By the way, are they still in the Pac-12 or has that changed now?
They're in the Big Ten.
I mean, what are we doing here?
It's college
USC
football.
is in the Big Ten.
Yeah, it's college. I had this. So I was with my buddy Dan over the weekend, and he's a huge college football guy. And we were talking, and he was telling me some over-unders he likes. And I'm just like,
big Ducks fan, right?
Yeah. And Oregon. I'm like, I cannot. Yeah, like he was telling me, like Oregon plays Rutgers. Like I cannot take the time to learn I don't see the way I watch college football is I really don't care about who's in what conference. On Saturday at noon, I put the games on and I watch 8 games at once from noon to midnight, and I'm happy. College football is such a joke. I mean, it is they have a conference with 2 teams in it this year.
What?
The Pac-12 is Washington State and Oregon State. That's the entire conference. Because everyone left, they all left to go to the Big Ten.
Everybody else left to go to the Big Ten, and they have 2 teams in the Pac-12?
Yes.
And they didn't rename it to Pac-2?
I don't even know what it's called.
Why would you still have a conference?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't pay attention to it because it's so dumb. It's so dumb. But I love watching the games.
It's actually sad. Like, you're right. It doesn't really mean anything, but it is sad.
Right. It doesn't mean anything, but it's pathetic. I mean, your sport it's a complete mess. Oh, speaking of messes in football, I don't know, maybe because I've been doing this a long time. I don't know. It still fascinates me beyond belief. I mean, you probably, this goes into what you do maybe a little bit for a living, but like people who get upset about lists, I still don't understand. So the NFL comes out with this ridiculous list where like Patrick Mahomes is the 4th best player in the league and everyone's having a stroke. Do you understand that the NFL wants you to have that stroke and they're happy, and now you gave this list all this attention? I don't understand how people don't understand the game. It's so, just make a stupid list, put it out, people go crazy, you win. No list has to be accurate for it to be considered successful. They just want reaction. And then everyone's flipping out. Like, you just gave the league or whoever made that dumb list every single thing they wanted.
Yeah, I'm not a list guy, whether it's creating them on our radio show, whether it is reacting to them on the radio show. I mean, I guess if it were a slow day, you could look at it and make fun of it. But yeah, to me, they're all stupid.
I don't understand getting worked up over it. I like to get worked up over, fun lists. Someone's like the best, whatever, pizza places on Long Island. And like, but like NFL players and Patrick Mahomes is 4th. Why would you even react to it? Why would you react to that? I don't understand. One thing I should mention here on the Barkley situation. So I had a whole podcast last week with John Oran about what's going on with the NBA and TNT and Amazon and the fallout from all that, because the NBA rejected the matching offer from Warner Brothers Discovery. Mm-hmm. And on Tuesday, the news breaks that Barkley is not going to retire. He's not going to go to ESPN or NBC or Amazon. He's going to stay with TNT, even though they don't have the NBA. And then I'm like, okay, I should probably get a guest on it. I'm like, I'm so sick of talking about this. I can't talk about this. I feel like every week. But I'll just say one thing. If you gave me betting odds, I still think after next season, which will be the last season that TNT has the NBA, and it'll be the last season of Inside the NBA as we know it. The plan right now, according to what came out Tuesday, is like Barkley's going to stay there. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, and do what? I wanted to talk to you about that because I know you have the info on this.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? I know they have one more year. After that, what? What, you going to put him on golf coverage? Okay, that's great.
They might.
Okay, that's cute for a weekend, but the appeal, Charles Barkley is one of my favorite personalities ever, okay? And I loved him as a player. But a big part of the appeal is watching Charles Barkley and the other guys talk about the sport that they know best. No offense to Barkley. I don't need to have his breakdown on golf or even college football with Auburn, which, by the way, would be more interesting than the golf stuff. But TNT's not doing college football either, are they?
Well, yes, they are. They are now.
So that's the big stuff. Then that's the big thing. When does that kick in?
I believe this year.
By the way, it's still like not obviously what you want to have Charles Barkley talking about, but at least there's an entertainment aspect to that with him being such a big gambler. And I know he loves, football and betting on football and certainly Auburn, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but part of the appeal of Barkley is him talking about hoops. That's
well, so there was a report in the Wall Street Journal that said one of the possibilities that's being talked about is where TNT will. This is after next season. Keep in mind, there's still one more year left of all this. That they're going to rebrand Inside the NBA, Inside Sports, and they'll make it a sports talk show with Charles. I don't know about the other guys. I mean, Ernie Johnson will still be there. I don't think Ernie Johnson's going to leave Turner. He said that. So at the least, maybe you have Ernie Johnson and Charles, and they do it, a 1 hour sports show or however they want to do it. The other thing is, I get what you're saying, 100%. But if he does stay with TNT, they do have Major League Baseball, regular season and postseason. They have college football now. I think they have the Mountain West. They have the playoff, but the playoff, I think, is licensed by ESPN, so I don't know, but they'd probably use them in some way on that. And they have the NHL. I think they have golf. And I don't know about the fringe sports, but...
All right, so they're going to have college football, baseball...
Hockey.
He
loves
basketball.
Hockey. Charles loves hockey. Well, and they have the tournament. They have on the, TNT, TBS, True TV, they have the tournament.
So no NBA, no NFL, which they could still technically talk about. I mean, look, I guess it's just not the same. Like they're gonna.
Oh, of course.
And also people tune in. Now, I'm not one, but because I'm not a huge out of town NBA fan. I mean, I'm a Knicks fan. I watch New York Knicks basketball. That's it.
Right.
So, but people do tune in to watch the game of the week, or whatever it may be, and you're watching the game, and then you get the great content before, during, and then after again from those guys. Who's flipping that on? Like when pre and post baseball games, we're going to watch Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith talk baseball.
I do think. Well, I got news for you. Well, I'll say this. I'll say two things. Because if TBS, which airs the baseball postseason, if they had a pregame show with Charles Barkley on it, I'd probably put it on before a playoff game.
Right, but for what? Just because you like Charles?
Right, exactly.
Okay, but is he gonna? But and that's why I said it's part of the appeal. I get it, but what's Barkley going to talk about? Is he's going to be talking baseball, and we're supposed to take him seriously? Then that would negate, having whoever Pedro Martinez. I don't even know who's on. Who else?
Well, I'd rather see. I mean, maybe they'll have Charles interview Aaron Judge. I mean, I'd get into that. I mean,
yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm sure they'll be creative and work with it. I hate it because I love that show for the NBA, and then they did some other stuff. You got to remember that's the bread and butter. It's like, I
agree, but it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
They could have Charles break down the runs, hits, errors.
Now, a gambling show would be different because that encompasses everything, and he's great at that.
Yeah,
him talking about a baseball hits, runs, errors, or over under, or whatever. That's different.
I also think you have to understand we're looking at it as two old men. If they gave Charles Barkley a talk show on TNT called Inside Sports, the play for that is not people putting on their television, putting on TNT. It's the social media clips. It's the YouTube. That's how it's all consumed these days.
And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody or any show or anything, but I don't watch any of those shows. First Take or the Fox Sports shows.
But you see clips.
Some of them, yeah. I mean, I guess I do it because of dog mostly. If a clip happens to be in the feed, all right, fine. Right. But then to me, what they had was special. Now
that's over. It's over.
Okay, fine. But now it's just going to be another national sports talk show, which to me, national sports talk shows, I just don't,
Well, I think he's one who can break through, though. Like, you don't know what the show. I mean, if it's him giving out opinions on, okay, the White Sox just lost 21 games in a row.
Right.
He could have a funny take on that. Yeah. Like, this is terrible in his whole shtick. They put it on Twitter. They put it on YouTube. People consume it. That's how people consume things.
I guess.
It's not about watching the show.
So, can he be, is their goal to make him TNT's Stephen A. Smith?
Maybe.
Or whoever the Fox guy is,
I mean, this is the issue. He signed a 10-year contract. When the NBA season starts here in a few months, that will be the beginning of year 3 of the contract.
Right. So he's going to have 7 years without the NBA.
Right. I still listen, I don't know the legalities of it, and I don't know what the contract issues are. I still think that when this NBA season ends, NBC, ESPN, Amazon, someone's going to try to. Again, he's under contract to TNT. They'd have to let him out. Maybe they don't want to. And I don't see this happening, even though this is what's supposed to be happening. Just a prediction. My own gut feeling. Last thing. This is in your wheelhouse a little bit. Did you see the reports, and they are confirmed that it's going to happen, about this movie with Gawker / Deadspin, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck?
I did not. No.
Okay. Now, we both loved Air. We saw Air together. We loved Air.
Yeah.
So they're going to make a movie. It's supposed to be called Killing Gawker. Now, Gawker was the company that owned Deadspin when Deadspin was really Deadspin in its heyday and top sports blog site, whatever you want to call it. And then Gawker and Deadspin ended up getting ruined and taken down and bankrupt and out of business or whatever.
Did Hulk Hogan kill Gawker? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So The reports earlier were that Ben Affleck was going to play Hulk Hogan.
Oh, come on.
There it is.
I mean, Batman is one thing. Ben Affleck's going to play Hulk Hogan? Give me a break. I love Ben Affleck. You can't play. He's not Hulk Hogan. Come on.
The good news for you is that supposedly that was just a rumor, and the movie company has said casting has not been done yet.
I'd hope so. Phil Knight is one thing. Yeah, Hulk Hogan? I'd rather have Matt Damon as Hulk Hogan. It's a better sell.
See, no, it's not.
And Matt Damon at least is... I think Matt Damon looks more like Hulk Hogan than Ben Affleck.
But Matt Damon is half the height of Hulk Hogan.
I understand that. I'm just saying I'd rather have Matt Damon. Like, if you said Matt Damon, I'd be like, but at least I understand it. Ben Affleck is nothing like Hulk Hogan.
Here's where I disagree with you. I'll go see this movie no matter what. I'm 100% in. But if you told me Ben Affleck was playing Hulk Hogan, I'd be 101% in. I have to see that. I would have to see that. But this has everything. This has the Hulk Hogan, the wrestling aspect, Affleck and Damon, who are tremendous. Everything they do is always good. And then you have, for me, in the sports media world, the takedown of Deadspin, which was this monster juggernaut site. So
and I don't even remember that story. I mean, obviously I know about Deadspin, but
they posted the clip, the video of Hogan after he banged his best friend's wife, using the N-word up and down like there's no tomorrow.
Right.
And it was, I don't know if it, I don't know. I don't want to say anything that from a lip. I don't know if it was stolen footage or how they got the footage, but they lost the lawsuit because Hogan sued them for airing that video.
So that was Gawker / Deadspin. The whole.
Well, Gawker was the company that owned Deadspin.
And okay, so that's how they went down. Wow.
Yeah.
Deadspin was one of those things you just never wanted to be in.
I was never, as you know, as we have argued about many, many a time, I was never a Hulk Hogan fan.
I know. Come on.
And that video just, it was, I'm just looking here, posting portions of a sex tape at the time, invasion of privacy, infringement on personality rights, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. That was, and the verdict awarded him $115 million, which included $60 million for emotional distress. And they avoided an additional $25 million in punitive damages.
Another leg drop. 1, 2, 3 for Hogan. That is great. I love that he took them down. Good for him.
Well, that was not his best moment there, quote on camera.
No. Well, nobody could defend that. I'm just saying that, I'm not defending. I would never do that. But I'm saying that those sites, I remember them as being vile and nasty myself.
I mean, listen, Deadspin, did they cross the line every now and again? Yes, but overall, I mean, I love them. I thought,
really? You were a big Deadspin fan?
Yeah, back in the day. Not now, but...
Right. And listen, so it's still a thing or no? Oh, you're still like running?
They still exist, but they're not like, it's not anything near what... Right. No, I mean, listen, nothing is. I mean... That was when Deadspin was at its peak. I mean, it was the internet was the wild, wild west. I mean, there were like no rules. I mean, I had the lovely lady of the day going. I mean, imagine that going on today.
Deadspin was also pre-Barstool, if I'm not mistaken. That was like, right?
I don't know. I don't know if it was.
I feel like that was the thing when Deadspin was.
It was the thing. Yeah, it was the thing.
Even more than awful announcing, right? Like that was predating all that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I just have zero sympathy for Hulk Hogan. Zero. But
you don't like him dating back to when you were a kid. That's where this comes from. Like him now, I can't justify.
But everything I've heard about him.
That's what I'm saying.
Would never do the job. Always rewrote the storylines.
There are many things that in years since Hogan beat Savage in WrestleMania 5 or whatever, there are many things that have come out that are not very good about.
Yeah, well, just watch the tape and you'll see not very good.
Yeah, I don't remember if I've seen the tape. Honestly,
If you saw the tape, you'd have a little bit of a different.
I know about it.
I mean, it's bad. It's really, really. And again, this is a guy who doesn't know he's on camera, doesn't know he's being filmed, and he's talking about his daughter dating a black person and just vile. So I have no sympathy for Hulk Hogan.
Oh, that's understood. But again, forget real Hulk. Forget the real dude. I'm talking about the guy in the ring.
Yeah, the most boring wrestler of all time.
See, that's my issue with you. Like, I'm not going to argue about the stuff outside the squared circle, but inside the ring,
you can't tell me that Hulk Hogan was more entertaining than Roddy Piper, Rick Rude, Jake the Snake Roberts. All I did as a kid was
you like all those guys.
I rooted for the heels every week,
and you lost every week.
I know. Yeah. Well, because he
ran wild on all of them, brother.
Yeah. He was in cahoots with Vince, and that's what, All right, what? Anything on the docket the rest of your vacation?
Right now, as we film this, downstairs, my wife and my mother are conversing.
Oh boy.
I went and picked my mom up for a couple of days. Actually, because we were supposed to go out east this weekend, but because of the bad weather, we had to cancel. So now I have to figure out when I'm dropping my mom back on the island and then coming back. Pain in the ass. So that's on my agenda for today.
Is that now? I want to be careful. I don't want to get in trouble because I know you're a mama's boy, and your mother doesn't think you can do anything wrong. But is there ever a situation where your wife and the mother sort of gang up on you? Like, do you believe Sal's doing this? Do you believe Sal
Very, very rare.
Okay, so it's your wife who's in trouble right now.
Well, no, ultimately it'd be me who's in trouble.
Right, but your wife, it's like a 2-against-1 situation if it's you and your mom against your wife.
She feels like that, which is a problem. Like, my wife will say something negative about me looking for a partner, and my mom's like, oh, no, making every excuse.
Right, Sal can't do anything wrong. Now, how long is your mom going to be there?
Today is it. She's been here since Sunday morning.
Oh my God! Yeah. Sunday morning. Today's Wednesday.
Well, the reason being, I wanted to, and this was actually great. Like, I woke up 6:30 Sunday morning, no traffic. It took me an hour and 20. Turn right back around, no traffic, and then that's it. I didn't have to worry about it. Tonight's going to be a little different story. So
you didn't stop at Maureen's kitchen?
No, I'm basically gonna drop her off and try to turn back around. I might leave at 7 tonight, which means I won't get there till around 8:39, and then turn back. So
I just want to be clear about something. Your mom came to your house on Sunday. You're bringing her back on Wednesday, and this is your vacation week.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a vacation. Drop the daughter off at school, pick her up. We went to the American Dream Mall for a day. It was all about my mom spending time with her daughter.
I'll never forget, as long as I live, Dog had one of the greatest lines ever. And it's all about having kids and a wife and the family. I don't remember the exact topic, but it was about like doing stuff on the weekends and, everything's with the week. People like to live for the weekends, but then if you have a family, and he goes, when my weekend starts? My weekend starts at 8 a.m. on Monday when the kids go to school and I go to work. That's when my weekend starts. So
there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah. All right. So nothing on the docket for the vacation.
No, this freaking weather ruined it all. We're supposed to go and enjoy the beach for a few days, and now it turned into another staycation. So hopefully it clears up a little bit here, so we can enjoy the pool.
Are you watching anything since you're in the house with the bad weather? Anything you can recommend?
We're catching up on some stuff that we like. Nothing that you would like. I forget. There's some weird show on Apple TV. I don't even know the name of it. Right. Jennifer Connelly's in it. You wouldn't like it. It's like I don't even really like it. My wife's been into it, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to see it through. Right. I think that's it.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week, Sal. Try to enjoy the rest of the vacation, and hopefully take mom home in a few hours, and you get out of Dodge without any bullets.
Wish me luck, as I left them together for 40 minutes unsupervised.
What could they be discussing?
Who knows what I'm walking into?
Sal's gambling habit. What could they be? All right, take it easy.
I'll talk to you later.
Take it easy. All right, my many, many thanks to Sal Licata. My thanks to you for listening. Like I said, we have some great guests lined up for the next couple of weeks, so make sure you subscribe to SI Media with Jimmy Traina. If you missed any recent episodes, we had John Oran on the show last week to discuss everything going on with the NBA's new television deals and the controversy with the NBA not accepting the matching offer from Warner Brothers Discovery for the Amazon package. WWE's CM Punk on the show as well. I talked about that with Sal, so if you want to see what I was discussing, you can check that out. Greg Olson from Fox 2 weeks ago. Noah Eagle calling the Olympics basketball on the show 3 weeks ago. So check all those out if you missed any of them. Subscribe to SI Media with Jimmy Traina. Leave a review on Apple. And that's it. All right, we'll see you next week. Stay safe and take care.